Hi, my name is Cheryl Spangler, and welcome to Project Notes. This podcast is for business owners, entrepreneurs, investors, and anyone actively building something real. We focus on solving real-world problems that come up while projects, businesses, and deals are actually in motion. You will learn how decisions are made, what works, what doesn't, and how to move forward with clarity when things aren't perfect. This is the most exciting time of my life. Believe it or not, there's a lot of doom and gloom out there. This is the most exciting time of my life because I used to tell my kids all the time, this is so true. This is actually statistically true. That if you do one thing relentlessly for 3 straight years, while everyone's like, yo, you got to take a break. You got to, what do you do for fun? You got to take a vacation. Where are you going to celebrate? What are you going to buy yourself with all this money? Whatever they're talking about. This is ways to spawn conversation for people. I say, I have a plan. Yeah, I have fun. I have a plan. What if working is fun? What if part of my job is actually fun? What if I actually enjoy what I do? So Project Notes is something that I hope and I feel will be a very, very vulnerable, transparent description of things going on, and hopefully that you can relate and you can kind of look forward to the things that I discuss. And maybe I will, and I know for a fact, I will have guests on that are doing their own cool projects, and some that I'm thinking about doing that I could get your feedback on. So it's not about just Virginia. It's about protecting your time and preserving your capital everywhere. Okay, we all need to do that, right? My theme, my goal, my number one overarching goal of everything I'm doing, personal and business, my number one overarching goal for 2026, you know how people pick like a word? Mine is a goal to, no matter what I do, no matter what, whether it's work, business, personal, whatever, emotional, financial, it is about preserving my time, spending it with more of the people that I want to spend time with, like my family, my close friends, people I've ignored for a while, not family, but like friends. You got to make effort to keep friends. And it just doesn't mean like a quick text once in a while. Like you need to get face to face. For years I've said, I don't do lunches, because people are like, oh, let's go to lunch. So preserve capital, protect your time. That's really ultimately what everything is about. And I want to tell you a secret to ChatGPT later on in this podcast. So what this podcast will give you is weekly real-time project notes from my active projects. And I will never divulge names of people, addresses of properties, or anything sensitive that would be anything that could be conceived as negative to anyone that I'm working with. But I will describe things because they're very, very interesting. Trust me. The things that I've gotten involved in are so interesting that the normal life of a real estate agent, which I don't even consider myself, I am licensed as a real estate broker in Virginia and DC, but I'm just saying like the normal real estate agent has a so boring life. Now, if you're an agent and you're listening to me, I'm sorry. Let me just go back and say my regular real estate business just got kind of mundane until I got into all this stuff. So weekly real-time project notes from anything active I'm working on, project related, market insights, contractor lessons, AI systems I'm using. I would say, and something I really, really want to talk about here is just some ChatGPT things that no one seems to be talking about. Some wins, failures. This is not scripted. I am not reading anything. It's not polished. I will cough. I will sneeze. Like, I'm not editing this audio. I'm just talking. So the mission, protect your time, the listener, preserve your money, your capital in anything. My goal at the project discussion is to do that. Those are the only 2 resources that matter in this podcast. And today I want to talk briefly about 5 lessons that I learned in 2025 But so I don't want you to focus so much on a past experience. 5 lessons and what I will do and I'm doing differently now going into 2026, that in hopes for me to 10x, and I know that's a big 10x my income. And to do that is going to be quite a challenge, considering my first thing that I want to talk to you about, my lesson, my first thing is numbers, and this is not bragging, this is just, I have to share like how some of these things took place. I feel that sharing will help someone. How I went in 2024 from closing basically 8 million, 7 million in home sales, which by the way, that doesn't mean I made that money, okay? It's in home sales. So 8 million in home sales, ideally, you would say, oh, well, what's 8 million times 3%? Oh my God, that's what she made. No, because we take lower commissions at times, and you'll find out later on, one of the lessons that I'm going to share is how I don't charge for some buyer commissions at all, and how that wins in the end. But how I went from 8 million home sale in 2024, which I felt was really good as a single agent, and to 19 million, so over 130% more. So from 7.8 million or something around there to like 19.6 million home sales as an individual agent. And I could not have done that without the lessons and things that I'm going to talk about today. Number one, AI. And so I became a full service, what I call strategist. I now have changed all my social media to reflect that. I have truly become a full service strategist. I used to call myself a problem solver. If you have that as a characteristic of your business or your personality, you are highly, highly desirable and in demand. Because someone who can solve problems without spitting back to the person who needs a problem solved the words, what do I do? Just figure it out and then let them know afterward. And if it happens to cost money, okay, come back to them and say, oh, it's going to cost this much, but I already have it set up. Can I do it? Yes or no? Press go. Press the button. Tell me, can I press the button? Become a full service strategist. And that is scouting properties, managing renovations, coordinating literally everything that has to do with buying, fixing, and selling properties, but also communicating. Massive amounts of communication in writing, through letters, through phone, through email, through text, and just constantly keeping myself out of the limelight. So I decided to use this program called M1. A lot of people ask me about it, so I want to bring it up in this podcast. Well, I mean, everyone that ever leaves me a voicemail asks about it. So M1 is an app you download, and for $19.99 a month, it becomes your AI answering service. I named mine Luna, and I had to make a full commitment to do this by integrating my phone number into this app. And truly, when someone dials my phone number, it does get answered 100% of the time by this app. But this app is amazing. I didn't realize at first. I thought, let me just have it answer the phone for me because I'm getting all these spam calls. I need to weed them out. And what it does is three very important things. Number one, it records every single phone call that ever comes in, every phone call that ever goes out. It is important because, one, sometimes you miss people's name. You think you write down a number, but you got it wrong. You forgot what you talked about. And so by doing that, what it does is this program's M1, which it's now been bought out. It's called something else. Let me look at it real quick. It's called Beside. It rebranded. They actually got bought out. They were so popular in the first 6 months of launching that another company bought them out. But they, at the end of the day, at 6:30 p.m., I get this summary of the day's calls. And it basically summarizes every conversation and gives me a to-do list. It gives me a to-do list. Don't forget. It's like it literally goes through my conversations and gives me a to-do list. Compiles the top 10 things that I said I was going to do on phone calls. And so to make sure that I do them at the end of the day. I know I'm spending a lot of time on this, but this changed the game for me. I never forgot a name. I never got it wrong. I never forgot a phone number. I never forgot to call anyone back. Like, literally have people that work with me that say, how do you remember all this stuff? I don't. I do write everything down, but that ends up in pieces of paper. I have a notebook with me 24/7, but M1 solved a lot of problems. Not only is every single phone call answered, and you can actually communicate and engage with Luna, because what else it does is you can actually give it information about me, my business, what listings I have, addresses I have listings on, what little details about it. You can like cut and paste content from listings into M1, into an area inside the settings. And basically people can have full-on conversations with this AI, and it evolves. It learns about me and my business. You can even say if a phone call comes in from, let's say, one of my investors, and I can like give the name and the number. It will interact with that person differently. It will ask it certain questions and have a personality. So, needless to say, my $20 a month experiment has changed my entire year on how well I can follow up and communicate with people by never spelling, saying, or forgetting their name or their phone number, and always getting back to them. Anyway, if you're someone that I accidentally didn't get back to, I don't know how that would slip, send me a message. And that's the first lesson. The first lesson is I went 100% on one thing in AI, okay? And that was my voice assistant, Luna. And now they are integrating all more things that Luna can do. So let's go on to the second lesson of 2025, and that is in June. Okay, so from January to May, I helped investors buy properties at, I won't say they're all super low off market. Some are stupid high off market. And that's only because sellers just wouldn't, even desperate people wouldn't take less. But anything bought in January and February and March that got renovated sold like literally snap your finger, it was gone. Like multiple offers, hotcakes. Anything purchased in like late April, May that was in the process of being renovated by June 1st and June 5th, I say the market hit a wall. June 2025, the market hit a wall, and it was like, wham. Everything went down in June. Now today, prices are still overpriced, okay? But in the scheme of things, there weren't multiple offers. Everyone's like, oh, everyone went on vacation. No, people did not go on vacation all of a sudden in June. Everyone graduated high school and college, and in August, people went on vacation. Yes, in July, but in June, things kind of went down. And so all the things purchased kind of started sitting. And it was like, now, here's the lesson. Here's the lesson. Every contractor that renovates and does work, the true test of a good contractor, and it's like, didn't you know this before? You're probably thinking, well, didn't you know this before? A true test of a good contractor is in a really tough market where buyers have basically said, I'm not buying that. I'm doing a home inspection. I'm doing a radon inspection and a termite and a well and a septic. Well, obviously most of those are done anyway, but in a hot market, there were things, I mean, I could give you like a top 10 list. How caulking is done, gaps, unfinished things, wood rot, uneven floors. Like, there's so many little things that a contractor's work and the quality of their work. Basically, you're either winning or losing based on the contractor's renovations in a tough market. Because in January, February, March, people were buying it. Yep, they saw some flaws. They bought it anyway. In June, it was like all of a sudden, buyers were like, literally, if it is not perfect, and every single mistake a contractor might have made, every careless, poor type of job that they performed and did, showed, and the buyer were like, we'll just wait for the next one. Nope, 50K less, 100K offer less. It's a crazy low offer. Or, I'll just wait till the next one comes on. Like, no urgency. Now today is January 3rd, 2026. Buyers still have that mentality. They do still say, well, if they won't come down to my price, I'm just going to wait. Probably more come on next week. I mean, like, no one's desperately diehard in love with their property, which is very interesting. And sellers are still not coming down to what buyers want. And if buyers ask and sellers say no, they'll just wait for the next one. And so that kind of started in June. So the quality of the contractor made all the difference. All of a sudden it was like, boom, I just saw the waters part. And it was like, good contractor that needs to adjust and become better. Because all their work, buyers were having major problems. Homes weren't selling. Good contractor, all of a sudden, the quality and the price that the guy that is good gives, you can see the quality. I mean, like down to like the smallest things that people would hone. I mean, I was at an open house of one of my listings, and a guy comes through with his wife and kids, and there were like three kids under the age of 6, running around like crazy. This guy was like an Elon Musk. No, I'm just saying. He came in. He never looked up. He just immediately, from the moment he walked through the front door, looked down, looked around, just wall to wall, floor to ceiling, looking. I mean, like he came in and his job was to scan, and the kids running, screaming, falling, none of it. He didn't flinch. And he basically walked through the whole house. And I kind of like followed a little, was observing and asked him if he had any questions. But I knew that he was kind of on a mission. And afterward, I just kind of waited, got to learn to shut up and listen and just wait. That's like silence is literally the key to anything. And he was like, it's very poorly done. This house is I'm just calculating how much work and how much money I will have to spend after I buy. And it looks like it's too much. Honey, let's go. He literally left. And this is not funny. Now, we since have sold this property. And it wasn't like I didn't already know that there were some small things. But that day, I watched this guy do that, and I saw a lot of people do that. I mean, not like him, but it was just, everything kind of changed. So, lesson is, I will let you know how good you are as a contractor when I go to have to sell a property you renovated. That is my biggest lesson. I don't care how low you bid or how great you say you are, but after you renovate a property and I have to sell it, I will tell you how good you are. Because trust me, when I'm sitting there looking like an idiot and buyers are coming in, pointing every single little thing out, some I knew, some they find, it's like embarrassing. So anyway, if it's my job to project manage the renovation and my job to sell it at the end, so I have become like Nazi woman. So anyway, that's like lesson number 2. Okay. Lesson number 3 is commissions. This is so hard. I'm going to try to be politically correct on this. I don't even like to have the conversation of commissions. Well, as far as like in the public eye and on Facebook and out on social media, because there's just such controversy. Not to mention that there's a massive confusion actually on who gets what and who pays. The truth is everything is negotiable. So based on the fact that everything's negotiable, it's also negotiable that I take nothing. And so there were times this year that I waived any buyer commission. Now I only am doing this. Now don't go run off and like share this to a million people. But I'm just saying, like, sometimes I choose to waive the buyer side to win the deal for an investor. And I will tell you the 5 things that win practically every deal. I don't know, maybe I shouldn't share this because it actually is the reason. But it's not like you're going to go, here's the thing. I could line 10 people up and tell them absolutely every single thing that I do in situations that are like I could tell you every single thing I do. I guarantee 99.9% of you will not do it anyway, because it's a lot of freaking work. And so 5 things, or maybe 4, that win almost every investor, buyer, purchase agreement. Now, this is to an on-market property, or if I deliver an offer to an off-market property, whether it's on-market or off-market. It's number 1, no buyer commission needed to be paid by the seller. Number 2, we will remove all items you leave in the home, including anything you want to just trash. In fact, just go through the home, pack a bag, take what you want, and leave everything else. Literally everything. Literally, if it takes us 10 dumpster loads, inside, outside, exterior, interior, basement, everything, garage, we'll clean everything out. Number 3, we will give you 30 days free rent back to stay after we buy for cash, and still you can only pack what you want and leave, and everything else we will clean out. Sometimes we say we will pay your closing costs, meaning whatever offer we give you, let's just say the offer is $375. Whatever offer we give you, actually walk away with $375. Not $375 minus title fees, your realtor fee, taxes, grantor's tax, all these things. HOA dues, it's we will pay your closing costs. We will waive commission. We will clean out your stuff, and we will give you free rent back. That is a lot of money, by the way. On average, it runs the investors I work with somewhere between $10,000 and sometimes $15,000 in clean out, because dumpsters are not cheap. And you always underestimate how many dumpster loads. And if the dumpster load is over the weight limit, then you're going to pay extra. Plus, you got to pay the guys labor to throw the stuff in the dumpster. It's just a lot of money. So, lesson that has earned me a lot and has made a serious constant flow of business has actually been giving up commission. It's kind of an interesting thing, but most people would hear that and be like, "Whoa, how are you living on nothing? Like, I can't work for free." No, I'm not going to go to every buyer looking for a primary residence and say, "Oh, I'll just work for free." I'm doing it because in the end, I will get the listing at the end. So it's just something that I decided to do. I was working with a lot of investors over the last 8 or 9 years, and they got to the point where they're just like, they don't want the hassle. They just want to push a button to buy, push a button to sell, and everything in between is done for them. And I just decided a couple years ago, that I would be that person. And let's see how it goes. And then it has evolved. And it's evolved now to like a massively productive system. So more listings, stronger relationships, and higher annual income. That's what that gets me. And so that's number 3. Number 4 was the AI. So the AI if I said to you, so many people ask me, are you hiring for more agents? And I always step back and say, why, what are you thinking? Are you thinking of switching companies? And I just go through my normal recruiting tactic and conversation and, normal conversation, because I used to be just a recruiter. I can tell you right now that if I wanted to grow to 100 agents, I could have 100 agents in probably 60 days. Recruiting is not a problem. People want someone with a vision, and they want freebies, and they want money, and they want a good split, and they want to be listened to. Okay, that's number 1, actually. And they want a broker that's available to them. They just want training, and they want help, and they want leads, and they want literally everything, a 401k, everything. So, if you want to recruit, sure, I could do that. But I just kind of say, I find out all the reasons why they're asking me the question. And in the end, the answer is really no. Because to be honest, all you really need is a really, really great team. So this lesson was, you only need one, maybe, but not really, one listing agent. And the rest is a 1 or 2 buyer agents to run all the leads that come from those listings. And an amazing team of other contractors, not realtors, contractor, termite, home inspector, title person, some guy to help you with signs, okay? Because that's actually a big deal. someone to run out and do videos, someone to do photos, someone to put lockboxes, someone to do floor plans. Like, I could just name contractors endlessly. Clean out people, junk removal, movers, landscapers. And as long as you have a team and you have them at the fingertips and you are religious and loyal and you give them business, then that is all you need. You do not need 10 listing agents. And almost every agent that says, are you looking to grow your team? They also just want to be a listing agent. And so I'm sorry, but there really only needs to be one. Everything administrative, you can hire an assistant that is virtual. Everything local, physical, you can get done with other contractors, not a real estate agent. And then, of course, a buyer agent. And so even open houses, I use Showami, which is an app I download on my phone. And I just on the fly, on demand, request someone to do a 2-hour open house on the weekend. I've lined up 7 open houses on Saturday, 7 open houses on Sunday, all using Showami. Sure, I pay an agent $100 for 2 hours to sit at a house, but it's worth it. I line everyone up. Everyone is so nice. They get qualified through the app that they are on. So it's not just like rando non-agent pretending to be agent. They have to be an agent. They get qualified. They sign up. They go through a little authorization on the app. There's just so many things. I even found this really cool website called Investor Boots. Investor Boots, basically, if you have anything you need done, go get a lockbox, put a lockbox, take a video, do a virtual tour. Can you do a walkthrough of a property I'm thinking about renovating? Investor Boots. That's Investor Bootz. So find ways to get a team other than more agents that are basically just going to try to compete with you, and then just run it, and do the things that AI can't do, that assistants can't do well. Do the things that is your genius. Build relationships, walk properties. I do the first walkthrough with a contractor because now I'm finding that I actually am designing all the things that buyers say they want. We are designing in the renovations, and that cannot be some initial person. This cannot be just a random, hey, can you go meet up this contractor and decide how this whole house will look? No, I have to do that. Walk property. Negotiate. And there's a tactic to that. It's such a subtle thing. It's like, you got to learn to negotiate without negotiating. And on-site management, I definitely do that. But I will say that every contractor team has their own kind of like manager. I just interact with the manager. And that's it. So AI replaces my tasks, not people. And I'm freed up for hours for high-value work. And that is why I say I am kind of like become a strategist. And I suggest you become a strategist so you're not replaced with AI. Okay, and the next lesson is time and capital. The two resources that matter most is stopping useless networking. Now, I stopped this years ago. People that used to call me and say, oh, I'd love to go to lunch and pick your brain. Okay, that is probably the biggest trigger word for me to either hang up, never talk to you again, or absolutely never go to lunch. And I just I blame my diet now. I'm like, I don't do lunch with people. No, I just say I don't do lunch with people because if I ate as many times as people asked me to lunch, I literally would be a fat hog. So stop useless networking, stop useless meetings, stop going to lunch to have a conversation you could have over the phone, create hands-off systems. Now, I'm not saying go hibernate and never meet up with people. Meet up with people that mean something to you, but protect your time. Protect your time. So I started doing that more in 2025. It was like, if it was absolutely not necessary, if someone said, we have to meet in person, that was not the person for me. Example, architect. I'm looking for one right now. I've found one. But 2 out of the 3 that were recommended want to meet in person. Why would I need to meet an architect in person? Literally. We just talk on the phone. I tell you what I want in a house plan and you create it. We do not need to meet in person because all we would do in person is look back to technology. You'd bring up your laptop, my iPad, my laptop. Now I want to talk about a couple personal lessons that I've learned in 2025. The first one is always consider the thing that you fear the most is the thing that that is like your breaking point to success. The thing that you fear the most, you're worried about doing, failing, looking like an idiot. The thing you fear the most is the very thing that is the breaking point of your success. For many, many years, I have been planning, wanting to do, talking about creating a tiny home company, creating tiny homes. I have now completely moved in a whole new direction. But through this evolution of wanting to do that and trying to identify, why do I have this drive to create tiny homes? Like, what is it about that? Well, affordable living, yes, of course. Well, there's a lot of personal things of why this is really important to me. But in the end, the fear of, I don't know, everyone has this, okay? Looking like an idiot, failing. I would say failing again, because I've failed a lot on a lot of things. But failing, really, I've just come to realize is you try something and you realize that it's not for you, and then you try something else. And then people are like, oh, you failed at that? That's what you want to call it? Okay, well, I tried and it wasn't right. And so now I'm adjusting. But all the people that never even try, where are they? You know what I mean? Like, most of the time when people win, it's because they showed up. How many times have you done something where there's really only 3 people going for it because the only 3 out of like millions showed up? So out of 3, you won. And then even sometimes we give ourselves a hard time and say, well, I only won because there's only 3. Yeah, because only 3 out of 1,000,000 people showed up to try. So the thing is, I digress, but the point is, the thing you fear the most, write down right now 10 things, 5 things. Okay, just 3. 3 things you absolutely are fearful of doing but want to do. Mine was get my Class A contractor license, pass the darn test, and start a tiny home builder company. And how can you do that? If you're a real estate agent, can you do everything? You can do everything. I do not subscribe to the life of limitation. You can do everything. But it's very, very, very specific. And I'm not going to talk about it all on this podcast because I'm going to do a separate podcast about it. It's actually a cottage home and cottage homes. And they are literally being pushed worldwide as ADUs, accessory dwelling units. And I don't want to get into all that right now, but the point is that it has come full circle. The idea, the thought of it, and the need. And this moment in time right now, as a matter of fact, starting March 2026, this moment in time, what I am about to launch is actually something that every state in the United States is embracing. So it is perfect timing. As always, everything happens for a reason, as it does. But sometimes you hold that back and you block it because of fear. So if you have fear, I'm just going to give you the one lesson. This is my one personal lesson. This is it. I'm not going to even give you 3. Anything that you are fearful of doing right now is the very thing that will set you to succeed. Meaning, just pretend that you have climbed a mountain and you're just climbing and climbing and climbing and you're doing and doing. And then like fear is basically the thing holding you from reaching the top. The success is right around the corner. I know that because some things have happened in the last month that when I finally said, okay, I'm going to do this thing. And I just like signed up for some things and set it in motion and all this stuff. And all of a sudden, like things started coming to me. And it's just like, you just got to get past the fear. So whatever it is you're doing or want to do, if you are worried that you will look like an idiot, you probably will. So what? Who cares? But you have to really embrace that, not just say it. Because we say it all the time, and then we still like don't do things. But I am hopefully going to be an inspiration for you to help you get through that. And if you have something that you're thinking about doing that you maybe aren't qualified for right now, or that you've been wanting to do but just haven't, I mean, from the smallest to the largest thing, from the smallest amount of money to the largest amount of money thing, project, creation, product, service. Maybe it's not even business related. Maybe it's personal. Maybe it's weight loss. Maybe it's, I don't know, stretching, being more flexible, dancing, hiking, whatever. Drop a comment, meet me at my Instagram, Cheryl Spangler Real Estate. There literally are no limitations in life. You look in the mirror, that reflection does not smile back at you first. You smile and then it smiles. That is life. You have to put out what you want to get back. That smile coming back is you smiling first. You cannot wait for that to happen first. You put out and it comes back. So whatever you are getting in life, as hard as this is to hear, whatever you are getting in your life right now, you have created. And if you made it this far, congratulations, because at the end of every podcast, I'm going to give you an AI hack that I use every day that helps me create better content, answer better questions. This is actually a life hack and AI hack. And it is in ChatGPT, and you could use this in anything, Claude, Grok, any of them that exist. But inside ChatGPT, how I get the best, most thorough, most accurate answers, content, documents, literally anything, whether I'm creating code, building a rendering, or anything. In AI, you get the best answers and content if you ask the right question. But it's really challenging to know how to ask the right question, what details to give it, how AI wants to receive it. Kind of like how a partner wants to receive love. Sorry, it's like all these things in my head right now. So my hack is, the first thing I do when I want to know something is not just try a bunch of prompts. I simply say, what information would I need to give you in order to blank? What information would I need to give you in order to provide an accurate rendering of a home with a new home plan for a builder? Like literally, what information would I need to give you in order to create an accurate mission statement for a new company I'm starting? What information would I need to give you in order to create an explanation on how to write the best HTML code for a new website? Like literally, the beginning and first thing you should do before any prompt is simply say, what information do I need to give you in order to blank? Because it gives me a list of everything AI needs in order to create the best version of what I'm looking for. So my hack for you is, in life and in AI, ask the right question. It's not about prompts, and everyone seems to miss this. It's not about prompts. It's about asking AI, what is the best way? What is the best prompt, right? You're asking what the best prompt is, and then you give it what it wants, because it's, just like in life. You're not going to have a good relationship with someone unless you first ask them questions about how they receive love, and then you give them love the way they want to receive it. And if that's not the way you want to give it, then you need to reevaluate the relationship. Same with your relationship with AI. Stop trying to figure out and downloading all these stupid prompt documents. Ask AI, what is the best way? What do I need to give you in order to create blank? And your whole world will open up. Thank you for listening. And everyone, please take time to connect with me on Instagram, Facebook, Twitter, X, LinkedIn, any social media you can find me. My name is Cheryl Spangler, and I look forward to saying hi.